Hello and welcome to my January and February reading wrap-up. That's gonna bother me. I'm actually sitting by my bookshelf for once instead of just like standing in a random area in my room, which is what I usually do, and then just pick up my books. Look at my Goodreads really quick and just make sure I know which ones I read. So January and February are really busy months for me typically because of like there was like my midterms in January and then also my quarterfinals started end of February. I am very busy, so I did not read as many books as I would have liked to in January and February. I read 9 books in total, which actually I don't think I logged all of them. Did I? No, I did. Okay. Let's pull out these books. This is the hardest part of these. Okay, here are my books that I read so far this year. There are 9 in total, and I'm going to just go through all of them really quickly. It's going to be spoiler free because if you want to read any of these, all I read. Ooh. We're going to do this by order which I read them, so it's going to be January books and then February books. So we're going to start with the earliest book, the first book that I finished this year, and that was Twisted Games, which was a 5-star book for me. If you're wondering, because you probably already saw that in my pile, I have Twisted Lies and Twisted Games all in the same pile, which might seem weird because Twisted Lies is the last book and Twisted Games is the second book in the 4-book series, but I actually read them out of order. But I absolutely love Twisted Games. I annotated it. It was really, really good. And I actually really enjoyed the characters. A lot of people hated specifically on the main guy in this book, and I don't know why. Like, I genuinely don't. I think that they were saying that he's like boring or something. Also, this is like the only age gap book that I can get behind because they're actually both adults. We're not in like a weird Gossip Girl situation. It was a really good book. I really like Anna Huang's writing. I am gonna make a video that's just on this series because it's a very interesting series. There's a crap ton of hype surrounding it and it's really strange. So I do want to make a full video on it just because it is so, you know, it's such a weird series, honestly. It's really strange, but I really enjoyed this book. I grew up with the Selection series and this was giving me those vibes, but it's like if it wasn't as much of a love triangle and instead it was just like an Aspen and a princess thing. Or actually, I was gonna say it's like for people who are Team Aspen, which like nobody was Team Aspen. Which I wasn't either. I wasn't Team Aspen. Don't worry. If you read the Selection and you know what I'm talking about, I wasn't Team Aspen. It's almost like the sequels to the Selection if it was actually good. She's a princess and he's her bodyguard. So it's like similar to that, except for she's the one who's already a princess and he's the bodyguard. So yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I highly recommend it if you like any sort of monarchy trope. I actually thought that it was done pretty well how they explained it. There was some like weird thing with the monarchy going on, like somebody didn't want to be the monarch so she has to be, so it's kind of difficult to like figure out what's going on. There's a lot of plot holes. Also, I'm trying to think how I can reference this in a way that's like people who have read the book will know what I'm talking about, but people who haven't read the book won't be like spoiled. Towards the end of the book, the if you don't want to hear what I'm going to talk about, fast forward 10 seconds. Plot inclusion that didn't end up being true. Why did they come up with the plot thing that Bridget and Rise were cousins? Because they weren't. My first book of the year, 5-star book, which never happens. I hadn't even had a 5-star book in like 2 years. Next book after that I read was The Great Gatsby. It was pretty okay. I'm not a huge classics person, but as you can see, it's a really small book. I don't know why my copy looks like this. It looks like a magazine for some reason. I'm not sure why. I like the imagery. A lot of the times I feel like classics are just classics because they're old and not because they're good. But whatever. And then we have the next book that I read, which was Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I really love Sarah Adams books. They're really cute and they're short. It's like they're all just like really easy reads, but the characters are really fun and they're actually like, she has quite a few books and each character feels different. Like, they don't have the same personalities, which I really appreciate. I do notice that just a little bit in Anna Huang's writing. But I really liked how all the characters are different, and they're easy to read, and they're not like inappropriate whatsoever. Like, they're very much like YA romance books. This one's really cute. I typically don't like small town romances, but I actually really liked this book. I think I rated it 3.5 stars just because it took me a while to read. It was not as good as the it was not as good as the cheat sheet. I did think it was better than When in Rome. I wasn't a huge fan of When in Rome, but yeah, this one is also kind of a bodyguard trope, which is funny. I read them in the same month. He's the bodyguard of a famous celebrity that is not her, and she like has a flower shop, and she's just like a small town girly, and she's like shy, but it's like good girl bad boy trope kind of, but he's not like a bad person, which is really great because I just don't like it when the guy is just like a bad person, but it's like, ooh, morally gray. Like, I don't know. I think that's why I liked Rise so much too from Twisted Games, because he wasn't a bad person. Oh, there's a spider right there. That's a big spider too. I'm gonna go kill it. Sorry about that, buckaroo. Anyways, the next book that was in January that I read was Icebreaker. I read it because I was curious. If I'm being honest, I really just read it because I was curious. I didn't like it. The ending was so bad. Like, this much of it entertaining. This much of it this much of it I didn't like the end at all. Like, this first part, you can see by how much I annotated each part. This first part was good. This middle part was okay. The last part sucked. I read a majority of it in one day, and usually when I read a book in one day, I really like it, but I genuinely just didn't like this book. I think I rated it 2 stars. It was just boring, and it was low-key gross. Anastasia's only like plot point is that she like thinks she's too heavy to skate.
Pretend I care. Okay, I'm done.
Like, Anastasia was just mean. She genuinely was just so rude to him, and I was just kind of like, this seems incredibly like unneeded. Like, what reason did she have other than like one thing that happened at a party? Like, I don't know. I thought it was weird. The last book that I read in January was Twisted Lies. I'm so sorry. This book really didn't do it for me. A lot of people, this is their favorite book in the Twisted Lies series. Those people who have read all the books, like, this is their favorite. The guy is genuinely a horrible person, and I just couldn't get behind it.
Reason number 46 why you should let me ride.
I especially didn't like this book because the guy in this, his name is Christian, and he is like a billionaire or something, right? And it gave off the same vibes as Christian Grey, and I wasn't here for it because I hate that series so much. So yeah, they gave off the same vibes to me. I liked Stella. I thought Stella was a great character, but we don't like Christian because he does a lot of bad things. So yeah, those are the 5 books that I read in January, and now we're gonna move on to the books that I read in February. The 4 books that I read in February, as you can see, I only read 4. The other one I read 5. But in January, one of the 5 books that I read was only like 100 pages. Like, The Great Gatsby is super short. Start with the first book that I read in February, which was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. This is the first Emily Henry book that I read, and I really like her writing style, but this book in like specific didn't really do it for me, just because I don't usually like small town romances, and I wanted to give it a chance because I was watching a recommendation book from Steph, and she recommended this book, and I was like, you know what, I'm not a small town romance person, and if you know Steph, she is the small town romance person. So I did end up reading this, but I didn't end up like loving it like I should have, but I still really liked it, even though it wasn't a trope that I usually like. I really like Nora because she's a workaholic, and I really related to that. Charlie was cool, I guess. I don't know. It felt kind of similar to how normal people feels, of like the vibe of like, oh yeah, we were kind of something but like not really, and like it continued for a long time, that sort of thing. But I actually still really enjoyed it, and I think that is wholeheartedly just because of Emily Henry's writing. I really enjoy it, and I'm actually reading Happy Place right now. It's gonna go in my March and April reading wrap up, so yeah, but I'm actually really enjoying Emily Henry's writing. I might just make a video on Emily Henry's writing because the hype around her is real and I want to talk about it. And also, I have a few other books by her that I'm really excited to read, like Beach Read. I'm gonna read at some point, but I want to read it once it's like spring or summertime. I just couldn't wait to read Happy Place because it was available in digital at my library, so I was really excited to read that. But honestly, Emily Henry's writing is so good. I enjoy the characters. I'm not a fan of the trope, and the way that the story played out is my favorite, but I still really liked it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Next book is Red Queen, which is a dystopian romance sort of thing. This book felt lazy. The thing that carries a dystopian is the type of plot device that there is. So in the Hunger Games you have the districts, in Divergent you have the factions. In Divergent you have the factions. Here it's like there's red people and there's gold people or something. Was it gold or silver? I think it was the gold or something like that. Anyways, so some of the other people have powers, but the red people don't. The red people are like peasants. So this girl who's a part of the red people finds out that she has powers like some of the silver or gold people. Not all the silver or gold people have powers. You have to marry into they said you have to marry into the royal family. Why? I don't know. Instead of liking the guy that she was brought to marry, she likes like the other guy, which is the guy's brother, which I hate that trope so much. I hate the love triangle between the brothers and the girl. I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. Some writers are pretty weird. It's just weird. I don't even know why I bought that book. I bought the Summer I Turned Pretty after reading all of them, even though I like them, but Jenny Han has a funny little thing where she makes the person end up with the wrong person. Anyways, that aside, I think I rated this like 2 stars. I enjoyed some of it. I read it pretty quick, but it was just not up to my like standard. I don't know. I'm not gonna read the rest of the series. Some of the romance was good. Not all of it was though, so it's whatever. Okay. Next up, Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I love this book. I annotated it and I gave it 5 stars. It was super good. I read it in like 2 days and the characters were just really cute. I didn't even think I was gonna like it that much. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't hear anything about it. I just went to Barnes & Noble and I saw the cover and I thought it was cute, so I got it. But no, it's actually such a good book. Every chapter has a little like romance quote at the start of it. So like this one's like 10 things I hate about you quote. Yeah, and they're all from like rom-coms, because the whole like a thing that really guides the story is that the main character Liz is obsessed with rom-com. It's a fake dating trope. I freaking loved this book. This is going in my top books of 2024. I already know. Last book of this little wrap-up is Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins, the prequel to The Hunger Games. This book did not need to be this fucking long. Why was it so... Okay, good job at like symbolism and the idea of Coriolanus being like a snake. The whole like, you know, thing where he's super two-faced and sometimes you can't even tell what he's thinking. He's just a very two-faced person, to the point where you can't even really tell what his true intentions are for a while, which makes the end like a lot more shocking. The end was not good. I think that the movie will probably be better than the book. I have not watched the movie yet, but I felt like this book was so pointless. There was no reason for its existence whatsoever. I think I still rated it like 3 stars though, because I did like the characters weren't bad. But yeah, that was my overall reading vlog of the past 2 months. So I'm gonna do another one for March and April. And thank you for watching. Thanks, and I'll see you later. Bye.